automatic thing.
Okay.
So,
How many years did you go to college for?
well, I went to a 2-year college locally here, and then I took 2 years of financial planning courses. It's essentially close to a bachelor's degree in financial advising and financial planning. So I actually have 2 degrees. One is in life insurance planning, and the other is in financial planning.
Okay.
Okay.
What are some important lessons you have learned from your past?
That the market's going to rise and the market's going to fall, and that you just need to wade through all of that stuff anyway. You're going to have good days, you'll have bad days, but if you'll be consistent, then it all works out in the end.
Okay. If you could go back in time and give advice to your 18-year-old self, what advice would you give?
To do exactly what I've done.
Really?
Yep, I wouldn't change anything. I probably would be a little, well, yeah, I think, just thinking back on some of the things, I would probably tell me to do the same thing that I've done. I probably would have said not to worry as much, because when I was going through some of those hard times, especially startups, I would have probably just said, you got to fight through this, you got to live through this. The interesting thing, I started in basically, instead of financial planning, I started in the life insurance business. At the end of 3 years, only 11% of people who started are still in that business. So that's a huge attrition rate. They get out of it. And so my first goal was to make it through that 11 years. I said I was going to beat that 11 year. I was not going to be part of that 11%. That would the 89% that's going to fall out. I said I was going to beat that. So once I got through that, though, then things got a little bit easier. And so I would probably just told myself not to worry too much about the things that you think is going to happen. You just keep plugging along, doing the things that you know you've got to do to build your business, and eventually it'll all come together. So.
Okay. What inspired you to be a financial advisor?
I had my wife's cousin, first cousin, was married to an advisor. And we had just built our first house, and he came out to talk to me about insurance. And at that time, I was literally driving for an oil truck, a company. So I was delivering oil to different houses. And he said, I think you would probably be pretty good in this business. He was shifting from being a representative of a company to being a manager. And so he said, I'd like for you to take a test to see just how, I just graduated from college, my 2-year college degree. I just graduated from that with, I had a major in sales and business administration. And he said, I think you would be pretty good at this, so I'd like for you to take a test that kind of gives us some idea of how proficient you would be in this. And so I took the test. I never saw the results of it, but evidently it was pretty decent, because they called me back and they offered me a position. They said, we'll train you, we'll give you guaranteed income for the first 3 years, and then after that you're going to be on your own. Whatever you sell, whatever assets you gather, that's how you're going to make your money after that. But for the first 3 years, we'll give you guarantees. And so that's part of my 3-year commitment to myself and to my family. And so that they were the ones that kind of inspired me to do this. And my wife said, I think you'd be pretty good at this. And so I said, well, I was driving an oil truck. I didn't have much to lose. You know, although I was perfectly contented with my job, you're never going to get rich, and you're never going to make a lot of money doing that, because it was a no-brainer. You just had to show up, you know. But I saw this as a chance of using my natural talents, and I really never did think I would be 35 years. I'm 35 years into business now. Never thought I'd get that far, but it was something that I really fell in love with. I enjoy talking with people. I enjoy helping people solve problems, especially the money problems, and so that's how it all started there.
Okay, that's pretty cool. What are the most and least rewarding aspects of your job?
The most rewarding aspects of the job would be developing not just clients but friendships. I deal with a lot of money. Some people bring me millions of dollars of money, and I help them to manage that and to grow it and to protect it. And these people don't just become clients of mine where I'm helping them, but literally they become friends. So, you know, I get to know a lot more about, I know more about most of my clients' stuff than even their families do, because they share everything with me. Their goals, their dreams, what they want to do with this money after they're gone, what their greatest fears are, and I help them to protect that and keep that safe and help it to grow also. So, of course, in the course of that, you get to know a lot of things about the people. So, some of their secrets, you know, that nobody knows but me and them, that's a rewarding thing. Some of the non-rewarding things are when people come to me for advice and then they don't follow that advice, and you see some of the bad decisions that they make, and they fall flat on their face when that happens, and you hate it for them. But not everybody has I guess the internal clock is what I say, or the internal balance that can follow a plan step by step. They see the rewards today and don't look at the rewards that can happen in the future. For instance, most kids that are 15, 16, 17 years old, if they would just put $1 a day in an investment account, in like a mutual fund or so, by the time they're 65, could easily be $500,000 or $750,000. I've actually seen that happen, where all they had to do was $365 a year if they would just follow through with that. Most kids don't do that. You know, they say, we'll do it later, we'll wait till we're 25 or 30. And what they don't realize is that those early years are vastly important, because you're laying the foundation, and that money is growing at interest, and it just keeps doubling and doubling and doubling and keeps changing. So I guess the most non-rewarding account, I guess, would be those people who, for whatever reason, they make decisions that are bad for them, but it's still their decision. It's still their money, so I'm not mad with them, or I'm just a little aggravated, because at the time they say, we've got great plans, but it won't never come to fruition because they can't follow a simple plan, you know. And it's not hard to do this. It's just, you just have to be consistent about it.
Okay. Does your job provide the opportunity to balance time between work and family?
Yes. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things that encouraged me to come to this. Now, in the early years, you give an extraordinary amount of time toward the business, because like in any business that you start, it takes a lot of startup time and a lot of startup money. Now, the money wasn't so much of a problem with the startup, because our company provided that, but the timing, when I first got into business, I would start work at 8 o'clock, and many times I wouldn't get home until 10 o'clock at night. I just worked all the time to build the business. But by the time I developed the business, you know, I work from 9 to 5 or 7 during the weekdays, but I'll take 3 or 4 vacations a year, Now I'm doing basketball. I'll stop at 4:30. When Josh was going to school, I didn't miss any games. I didn't miss hardly any practices, and we were able to do a lot of things. In addition to that, we take about 3 or 4 major vacations a year anyway. So, and one of the things that we do with even with my staff here, we encourage them, if their children or grandchildren has ball games or things of that nature, we encourage them to go with that, go with them and be a part of them. Because family, if you're working just for the money, you're working for the wrong reason. You're always working, you should be working for your family anyway. And so if you've got that overbalance that you're not with your family but you're making good money, then you're really unbalanced. So yeah, you work hard, I work hard, and sometimes I work long hours, but when I play, I also play hard, and I play long hours too. So yeah, this is perfect. Since you're a business owner, you pretty much can determine how much time you want to take off and when you want to take those times off. So I just schedule my time. You know, if I want to take off, I just make sure that nobody's coming in to see me during that period of time. So that is perfect. It allows you to do stuff like that.
Okay. My last question is, you know, it's my senior year and I'm about to go to college.
Yep.
And I was wanting to help my whole class too, because we're all going to college as a senior class. Do you have any advice, you know, you might can help us out with? Or?
Yes. Number one, you're going to be working a long time. Okay. You need to find something that you enjoy. It may not make the most money, and then again, it may make tons of money or so. But if you're going to a job that you don't particularly like, you're going to hate your life. You know, you may like the money that it makes. I'll give you, for instance, I was at a wedding reception, been 3 years ago, I guess it was now. And I had a young girl that I knew had just graduated from college, and she came and sat down at our table. And she had graduated with a major in accounting. And as we got talking to her, she said she hated accounting. And I said, well, why did you get a major in that? She said, well, that's because it makes me a lot of money. And I said, well, what would you really want to do? She says, I want to be a teacher, but there's no money in that. I said, you'll never be happy with your accounting degree and doing the work of an accountant. You never will. Because that's not your passion. So if you do, I mean, you're going to work on an average of 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, even if you get just a regular job, not a business, but just a regular job. Why would you want to be dissatisfied with that during that time? So if you're going to college, I tell people, you need to try out different things. I know with my son, he tried 3 different majors. One was medical, one was law. None of those, he said he tried it a semester, and neither one of those really fit with what he wanted to do. He's now in environmental science, and he loves that. Part outdoors, part helping the environment. You know, whatever your passion is, that's where you need to go. That's where you need to focus. Because work is fun at that time. It's not really work. For me, I love this job. Mondays, I just as far to Mondays as I do Fridays. You know, it's exciting. I'm almost 60 years old now. I'm planning on another 10 years here if my health continues along. It's not a burden to go to work. I don't look forward to retirement because, as far as I'm concerned, I'm doing what I want to do anyway, you know. So my advice to the class would be, find your passion, what you enjoy doing, and if you don't know right now, it's okay, because you're still young. But you have time, and there will be things that you'll go to that you'll either be able to take it or leave it. But that one thing that really clicks, that you really enjoy, that'll be the one that you'll want to focus on then. And it may, like I said, it may not be the biggest money maker, but you'll have the most fun, and the money will follow, and it'll be enough if you're doing it right and if you're doing it good. Because if you're doing what you like, you'll do it the best that you can.
Okay.
All right?
That's it.
All right, man.
Thank you.
That was easy.